Hi, and welcome to 8x8 Academy Live. I'm your host, Mike Evans. Each episode will have a candid conversation with one of our resident experts, and you'll gain some insight and business solutions using our products. Now, today we're going to talk about something that's on everyone's mind, and that is how best to communicate and collaborate with their teams. I'll give you a hint. It's using team messaging. Now, I'm a big fan of team messaging. It's changed the way and the speed at which I work with my team and every other team in the company. But I still have some questions, like where did it come from? Where's it going? Is it as big of a deal as I think it is? Is it going to kill email? Fortunately, we have with us today our resident expert, Director of Product for Messaging at 8x8 and former CEO of Sameroom, Andre Soroka. Stay tuned after the interview and we'll take her for a spin. Hi, Andre. Welcome and thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
So why messaging and why now? In the evolution of major milestones of communication, how does messaging stack up? Is it here to stay?
I think why now is because it's doable now, technology-wise. You know, mobile phones are really good, desktop apps are really good, web apps are really good. It's easy, relatively speaking, to build a very nice experience fairly quickly for the user to have to-go messaging so that you can leave your desktop, go somewhere else, drive, and you can essentially still be connected. So I think that's why kind of now. In terms of technology, also because, you know, we've moved computing into the cloud, and that was a great thing to do. It made everything easier. It kind of democratized computing, essentially. And I think what we need to be doing now, what we are doing now, we may not be realizing this, is we're moving people to the cloud, where if you're a knowledge worker, it really doesn't matter where you are. Messaging is the technology that makes you be productive kind of in the cloud. You can mimic face-to-face communication in a chat room, right, with your colleagues whom you may never really even meet in real life, and it's fine. And there's also a huge benefit to doing this because everything you say ends up being recorded, so it's searchable, so it's kind of available for not only the current colleagues that you have, but your future colleagues, so they don't have to keep recreating the same information from scratch. We're doing this, and messaging is the medium of communication that makes it the most viable, this type of work.
But it's not really replacing email, right? It has its issues. It has its shortcomings as a medium.
Email or messaging?
Messaging.
Yeah. I think it is replacing some of the more questionable usages of email, and this is where you see coworkers using email in lieu of chat. Email isn't that great for it because you end up with threads that are poorly formatted, and you end up with non-real-time communication. I think replacing that type of use of email is great. I think that messaging doesn't need to work for either communication that involves outsiders, right? Lawyers, a job interview situation. Email is fantastic for this sort of stuff. Forwarding, copying, BCC, adding people. We know how to do this. It's perfect. I think it's pretty close to perfect. It's very good. It's good enough, right, for that kind of stuff.
I'm a CIO of a large company, and I'm not an expert at team messaging yet. I'm worried or I have concerns. What should I be afraid of, or what's going on that I don't know about that should concern me about team messaging?
That's a great question. And I think the biggest concern that you have is the fact that your employees, your colleagues, are most likely not using the tools that you gave them to use for communication, which is probably email and some form of one-on-one messaging that has no mobile app. That's sort of the most likely profile. They may be using something as bad as a consumer Skype or a consumer Google Hangouts, you know, with their own Gmail accounts, or any number of these other great consumer messaging apps that are light years ahead of their sort of business counterparts. And that's sort of the worst possible thing, right? Why? It's because that's where they get their work done. And as a chief information officer, chief security officer, you don't even know that it's happening. That's the main fear.
Like Jurassic Park, life finds a way, employees find a way to get their jobs done, even if you try to clamp that down.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. They will find a way, yeah. They'll fight you every every bit of the way. Yeah. They're going to find a way to get their jobs done. Yeah, absolutely.
I can't imagine going backward, like not using it today, for the read receipts automatically to pop up to see who's instantly read something, or going back historically and seeing stuff that I really wasn't, a part of in a thread or something. But not every company has Virtual Office yet. We really, in the past couple of years, I've seen, us just like jump from a Slack to, using our own product, which is fantastic. but not every company, has this. So they're using their own kind of messaging. And this is where like Sameroom came in, right? To try to have some sort of interoperability with teams using different platforms.
Yeah, or the same. When you say Slack, when I came to 8x8 2 years ago, I learned of 11 Slack teams. But they're all islands, and then we also, of course, Hangouts and Skype. So Sameroom was born out of this. Well, this is going to continue to sort of proliferate. So it was an interoperability behind the scenes layer that made it possible to connect one room to another room, kind of, and sync messages in real time. So it does solve this problem of heterogeneous systems deployed accidentally or intentionally. You're always going to have different companies trying to work together close enough where email doesn't work anymore, right? And so this is where shared rooms become really interesting.
I can remember a couple of years ago, my team here at 8x8 using VO, using all of our products, fantastic, but some of our teams were getting their work done by using some other products. I love when employees, when like IT has to follow employees, like bringing smartphones to work and doing your work mobile more than on your laptop, and you either get on board or you kind of get left behind as an organization if you're not following what the employees are doing to get their work done better. That's what I found with using our 8x8 team messaging, is it works great. And just the other day, I was just thinking about, I don't remember the last time I was really relying upon email to work a project. So where are we today with team messaging? I mean, but both kind of globally and within 8x8.
Yeah.
We've come a long way, as we mentioned, in the last couple of years internally, but where are we in the evolution of team messaging? Where are we today?
Since 2012, 2013, there's been this huge leap forward from team messaging being completely ignored by investors, companies. People didn't really understand what's at the center of your work. Well, could it be document management? And possibly, right, there were companies that went to market saying, look, it's all about documents, like Dropbox, Box, and so on. Then someone else says, oh, no, it's all about project management, it's tasks, right? So then you have Asana and all these companies that are really just, it's all about task management. And then the third pillar is team messaging. What happened was team messaging clearly is at the center of it all. Speaking of 8x8, we have built and quietly brought to market our solution, which is continuing to undergo pretty significant changes, both in terms of capabilities and I think user interface design. I hope that we'll be able to start, bringing our vision to market, which is quite different from bleeding edge kind of idea of what team messaging is. And I think it's better because it's simpler. I think it's just simpler. It's less complicated.
I feel confident that with you in there fighting the good fight, that we'll see those things. And I'm a big fan of your work, and I look forward to more. Thanks for joining us, Andre, and I'll be messaging you.
And I'll be sending you my red receipts.
Right. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Andre as much as I did. Now let's do a quick demo to show you how it works. If you've used Virtual Office Desktop before, you probably message with your colleagues one-on-one. Now, with the latest releases of Virtual Office, you'll see rooms where you can chat with multiple people. This is where you can collaborate with colleagues in real time. Now let's take a look at how to create a room. Just click the new message icon, click Create Room, give your room a name, such as the project title or conference you're planning, and choose your room type. Rooms can be public or private. Public rooms are discoverable and viewable by anyone in your company. Private rooms are only visible to members. Click Create. Okay, now our room is set up. To let your colleagues know about the room so they can collaborate with you, you can use @mentions to send them a notification. You can also ask them to follow the room. This way they'll know when there are new messages. And if you have team members on different messaging platforms, simply open a connection, also called a tube, between the two. It's that easy. So give team messaging a try. Well, that's our show for you on team messaging. Thanks for watching Academy Live.